Live from Alco TV Studios in Michigan City, Indiana, this is Pro Wrestling Tonight with your host, John Bullard. Greeting there, wrestling fans. This is John Bullard with all of us here at Alco TV Studios, thanking you to tuning in for Pro Wrestling Tonight. With me here at the studio is the man with the golden voice, the voice of our company at Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, the one and only Steve Ahrendt.
Oh my God, it's Pro Wrestling Tonight. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be anywhere. I'm excited to be in a place where I don't have to ask the questions for once. So John, it's a great pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure, Steve. For the fans who don't know, Steve Ahrendt has not only been a general manager of professional wrestling, a man who has also been, of course, you say, the interviewer for the LRP Network show, Last Man Talking.
Yes, Last Man Talking. It's a painful job, but somebody's got to do it.
And you're also the host of the Gorilla Position.
The Gorilla Position on Open Talk Radio 313 The Flash with Martez and a ghost called the Macho Ghost. We do a little thing on the internet radio every Thursday night, but it's great to be busy. I'll take you're nobody's busier than you, but I'm happy to be busy.
I'm busier than one-legged man in the hacky sack race.
If I had one leg, I'd be in real trouble. I'd look like a peg sticking out of the ground, but that's neither here nor there.
So, Steve, for the fans at home that are tuning in, that are seeing you for the very first time in this area, tell the fans a little about yourself. How did you get involved in the professional wrestling business, and also your television background that you mastered in?
I will. I'll start by thanking John Bullard for the opportunity to work out here in this neck of the woods, and thanks to all of you for embracing me into your club here. It's terrific to be here in Michigan City. As far as me starting out, I never thought I would be on the end of that question, that anybody would care how I started out, but it's pretty weird. For many years, I worked in retail, and I just thought that would be all I would do. And then I heard an advertisement on the radio one day. You can go to broadcasting school, be trained in about a year, and possibly work. Well, I was 43 when I decided to do this, and it was a process, and I made it through it. And along the way, I got to meet people in the wrestling industry, and one guy decided to sit me down with a headset on and said, describe what you see in that ring and talk about it. Well, I'd been watching wrestling since I was 14, so I knew exactly what they wanted. So I just channeled my inner Jay Ross, and everything was, my God, he killed him! My God! I was just doing Jim Ross for an hour and a half, and people thought it was a sad ripoff, but I got to keep doing it, and that's how I started in this business. I went to broadcasting school, graduated with top honors, and then got thrust in the wrestling business because 670 The Score wouldn't hire me, and still won't.
Well, we're glad you're here with us on that.
I am darn glad to be here.
No, I know it's different being on the different side.
It is. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm all nervous. Like, maybe I should be asking, but I'm just going to relax and have fun.
Yeah, it's have fun. That's what we all require here at our show. It's have fun. Now, you're saying the person who gave you a job. Who was the person who first gave you your big break in the wrestling business?
Well, at ICB, there was a program director for the ICB, being the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Now it's the Illinois Media School. The program director for the sports station, SportsTownChicago.com, was Peter Ferrari. And Peter had worked at Radio Disney. He'd been a man in the industry. And they had a contract to do filming at a local wrestling event done by Pro Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
And PCW would let them come in and do the camera work and do the broadcasting, and they would get some money from ICB to give us this experience. So I got to come in and I got to sit down, and that's where I met a lot of people that I still work with today. One of the first interviews I ever did, all those years ago, was Tom Heisman, who was one half of Youth Gone Wild, who is in this company. So I've kind of been following him around, it would seem like, for many years now. But you're talking about people in CCW. Vic Capri was there. Marche Rocket was there. So a lot of people that are still here and are working at Chicagoland Championship Wrestling are people that I kind of started with. So, I've been following them and working various places throughout the years. But Pete Ferrari is the one who got me in. And then guys like Tom Heisman, Jared Priest, Braun the Lumberjack, Mitch Blake, these are people that kind of kept me going. And then, of course, I wound up with Antoine Clemens at Crash Tested Wrestling, and that's kind of where I got my first big dose of being a commentator.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you've always done a great job for every time I've encountered you.
You're too kind.
Doing commentary at shows or general manager work that you've done for other companies.
I appreciate that. I don't have a splendid jacket like that yet, but I am working towards some of the glitz and glamour of Mr. Bullard.
Well, I'm
here.
going to take you out suit shopping sometime.
So. Now we're taping that, and that will be available on this network.
So, going from Pro Championship Wrestling, PCW, which was known for having the Dream Night events that brought in legends like Jimmy Snuka,
Yep.
Roddy Piper, the Road Warriors. Of course, my good friend P.L. Myers.
PL.
Yeah, the shot to the top.
The gentleman scholar of the professional world.
Yes, great guy.
I love PL.
And PL spoke very highly of you when I first met you at IPW.
Yes.
When I was still a professional wrestler.
I remember that very well.
PL mentioned to me, he was like, "Hey, you're gonna have that Steve Ahrendt guy on that show, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And PL kept telling me, he's like, "Watch out for that guy." Not in a bad way. He said, "Watch out. He's very professional. I think you'll actually take a liking to him." And he was right.
Wow.
And so,
Thanks, PL.
going from PCW, you started branching out to other companies in Illinois and Indiana areas.
Yes.
What else companies did you work for?
All right, so when I got to PCW, I worked their last 3 shows, and then they went away. One of the most incredible things I've ever seen on commentary that almost forced me into cardiac arrest was a match between Joe Heisman, Tom's brother, and Vic Capri. They were fighting on a balcony at a gym, and Joe Heisman threw Vic Capri off a 15-foot balcony through 7 tables standing up on each other, and the man walked away. So I would respectfully say to our good friend, the Shogun, Chris Logan, who will be fighting Mr. Capri at October 3rd on Saturday Night Grapple Masters, that if a 15-foot drop through 7 tables doesn't kill Vic Capri, you're in for a long night, son.
Yeah.
But after PCW went under and they went away, a year went by, and then a company called Crash Tested Wrestling kind of picked up in its place in the area. And I was working with people like The Rage, and I was working with Tom Heisman again, who had become something else, and a lot of the people that were at PCW, Jared Priest, that when they were looking to put a commentary team together, they had one of the owners, J.J. Williams, on commentary, but they wanted someone to come in and kind of play off of him. So basically, I was given the Jerry Lawler job of just kind of chiming in and saying crazy, ridiculous things. And JJ didn't have a lot of experience, so I kind of took the mantle of most of what was going on and, kind of went from there. And then I got a new broadcast team. And Crash Tested was really good. And that's why I like what you're doing here at Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, because CTW had a lot of great things and some really bad things. I see CCW as having all the great things without any of the bad.
Well, we try to definitely cut out all the bad.
The bad was not good. Stolen rings, not good. Story for another time.
So going from there, you started working for Global.
Yes. That's an interesting story. Is it okay if I tell a story?
Go right ahead.
I'm going to tell a story. So after Crash Tested Wrestling went under, I thought, okay, that's it. I'm old now. I'm 45, 46. I'm not going to work in this business anymore. So it got to a point where Global Professional Wrestling, which had been around for a while previously, decided since CTW was gone, they were going to kind of get back in and start doing it again. And it was run by Mitch Blake, Braun the Lumberjack. Those were the promoters of that particular company. And I had worked with both of them at Crash Tested. So I went to their first show, and it was great. I was just a member of the audience, and it was good. And I got a chance to shake their hands afterwards and chat with them. And I was talking with Braun the Lumberjack after the show, and he's like, "Listen, next month, why don't you come here? We'll have you do some things. You'll do some security. Maybe you can help Steve Kenton on commentary. Just kind of be indispensable. Just see if you like it. See if we like you. See if you like it.
Kind of become the utility man."
So you had mentioned that it's always important to dress the part, to be a professional. We've talked about this. So I showed up at the next event, full suit, and I was sweeping the ring. I was standing there, security, stamping hands, and I was helping Braun's mom take tickets. Yeah. So that's all I was supposed to do, but I'm in a suit, and everybody that would walk in, this was before COVID, mind you, so I would shake the hand of, "Hi, thanks for coming tonight. Look forward to talking to you after the show." So I shook hands with everybody, and then I talked to everybody as they left to find out what they liked. And Braun's mom came up to me and said, "Who are you?" And I'm like, well, they said, come try me out. Let's see if you can do something. He's like, you've done a great job, and all you've been is security, and you've swept. And I said, well, thank you. So apparently, Braun's mom talked to Braun, and next thing you know, I'm doing commentary now full-time with Kenton. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're like, hey, we want a GM, and we want you to do that. So suddenly, by accident almost, I became general manager. And it was weird because, I never thought Mitch Blake really liked me at Crash Tested, because Mitch is a very, very old school personality. So, he has no time for incompetence, and he's intolerant when it comes to mistakes being made. And, in television, you're 18 seconds away from the next mistake at all times. You got to really keep your eyes on what you're doing. And, we were, a relaxed group, so a lot of times things would get kind of wonky, and that really bugged him. So I was an extension. That's like, what are you doing here? I thought we got rid of you. But then over time, after Braun and Mitch separated, I kind of became, one of the co-bookers, and I helped him do promotions for Global, and it was kind of a whole new world for me. So kind of by accident, I keep getting these opportunities by accident. I know maybe I have a clover somewhere in my pocket or something. I don't know, but for no reason, people are hiring a 50-year-old man to do a young man's thing. So
hey, you know what?
I appreciate the opportunities. Don't get me wrong.
To me, age never mattered when it came to your profession. As long as you're the professional that does a great job, that's what matters the most.
Well, as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to be a professional, at least to the best of my ability. That's all I can say.
So, of course, with Global now, I believe they're finally officially out of business. If I'm correct, or
Global kind of closed up shop up here in the Illinois South suburbs. They are now down in Benton as part of IAW Productions, which is a huge promotion down south. I'm sure you've heard of them. They have a big promotion going on this weekend. Opening their new facility. They have a big facility on there that has a wrestling arena, a bar and grill, and a training center. It's almost like an IAW performance center. It's beautiful. I was supposed to be down there this weekend, but I got some family things that I have to do this afternoon, so I wasn't able to go. But IAW is a terrific promotion, and they're turning heads in the South. So that's where GPW is now, and Mitch Blake is largely responsible for it.
No, very good. I hope them nothing but the best success and all their comings with the business. And it's the thing about the wrestling business itself, like, you always want to see everyone be successful, and I know with what he's doing down there is going to be really successful. I know Braun the Lumberjack is now helping run DWA, Dynamic
Wrestling Alliance. They did some pretty magical things last October. The show, they're still talking about it. You're right, and I've heard you say this before, and I think you're right on the screws with it. The better the area and the better the promotions that are in an area do, it's better for everybody. Okay. Success breeds success. And, there's plenty of room in the pool, plenty of pieces of the pie for everybody to get some.
Oh, exactly. And the thing is, the fans win in the end.
Absolutely.
More than anything else, because they have great quality shows, they have great quality athletes to buy a ticket to go see. It's a win for both the athletes, but also it's a win for the fans at home that are loyal to the product that has been around for such a long time in this country with professional wrestling.
I mean, what makes competition good? I mean, you think about wrestling, everybody talks about wrestling in the 90s. Why was it so great? Because you had direct competition between Nitro and Raw, and they always tried to one-up each other. And who was the winner? The fans that are still talking about that being the glory days, because they had to fight each other tooth and nail and one-up each other every time. It's competition is great. Competition is what makes everybody thrive and makes everybody have to be better. Yeah. So the more competition out there, the better and tighter you have to perform, the better the product.
Yeah, exactly. You raise the bar.
Raise that bar and keep it going.
So
just don't pull a hamstring.
Now coming up after Global, you went to go work for CSW, Chicago Style Wrestling.
Yes. Again, fortune favors the bold, although I'm not bold. GPW closes down, and one of the primary members of that promotion, Steve Boz, called me up and said, hey, listen, we know you're done at GPW, at least up here, but we would really love to bring you to CSW to do a general manager position there. And I didn't have anything else to do, so I was honored because Steve Boz has been in this business for, darn near 30 years. He's been everywhere, on TV, off TV, up and down the road. So Steve Boz trains. He's one of the best individuals working in this industry, and he's one of the nicest men working in this industry. And they've done a lot for me. They have quite a round table of minds at CSW that are taking that promotion to new heights. And fortunately, I got lucky enough to get in there. They liked my work. I got to then venture out to CSW Northland, which is kind of the CSW NXT, where a lot of their rookies and young athletes get a chance to shine in the spotlight. Woodstock has been rocking the nights we've had shows there. We got another one coming up August 29th in Woodstock. So, it's a great opportunity. I've had a lot of fun. Got to meet Luchasaurus, got to meet Rhino. It was, great opportunities, great athletes, magical locker room. Some of your guys are in CSW as well, with Marche Rocket and Vic Capri, TJ Steele, mutual friend of ours. Yeah. I eventually will be finding his way to CCW at some point.
Yeah, we're actually working on that. We're actually planning for our next Pro Wrestling Tonight episode to actually have TJ as a guest.
Whether you know it or you don't, TJ Steele is one of the sleepers of this industry in this town. Maybe it's because he's been working as a tag team specialist with Boz for so long, but this man has main event written all over him, and I can't wait till he takes that next step. And I think maybe CCW might be that next step for him. But he's a phenomenal talent, and I really enjoy working with him.
Not only is he a phenomenal talent, he's a phenomenal human being as well too.
He's an even better man than he is a wrestler, and if you see him perform, that's saying something.
Yeah, a lot of respect for the guy.
As do I.
So with going from all these different companies that you worked for, I have to ask, what has been your top 5 craziest moments in wrestling that you have witnessed at the shows that you worked at? I just have to know. This is one of my favorite questions to ask people because there's so much.
Okay, well, I'll do this off the top of my head since I wasn't prepared to answer a question like this, but I love the spontaneity of it. I like to surprise guests too. Top 5 craziest moments. Well, when number 1, I'm going to start at number 1 and I'll work my way backwards because number 1's kind of a selfish one. In July of 2019, we had a big show in Posen for GPW, and I actually stepped out of my general manager character and actually was a wrestler for a night. It was my son's birthday. I had a match against the villainous metalhead. I worked for 3 months to provide 8 minutes of entertainment. It was the hardest 3 months, and the match is a sloppy mess, but I still look back at it and say, how did a 49-year-old man that has never taken a bump before work an 8-minute match and have a standing ovation? Now, granted, it was my son's birthday, so I had many family and friends in the crowd that night to actually see if I could do it, but it was a magical moment for me. So without question, that would be number 1. Another one would be CTW Destiny. It was their big WrestleMania show where we had MVP and Alberto El Patron fight in the main event, and there was a match between Aaron Xavier and Justice Jones that I'll never forget. It was one of the craziest finishers I ever did. I thought Aaron Xavier was dead. So if you ever want to see me channel my inner JR, find that match on YouTube. I was like, my God, he's dead. He's dead. He's got to be dead. Nobody walks away from that. That's a crazy moment. I talked to you a little bit about Vic Capri going through all those tables. That was my intro. I'm like, how am I ever going to see anything better than this?
So how can you top this? Yeah.
Ron the Lumberjack and his faction called the Family with Ivan Manson, they had a no disqualification match in which they had wagons and shopping carts full of plunder, and there was cake pans getting hit, or tire. That was a hot mess. That was a match that I'll never forget. Hosting the CTW award ceremony with Eric Bischoff sitting 3 feet away from me, watching me conduct an award show for a company that had been around 3 years. The bold adventure, and then after it was over, he walked up to me and said, "You did that very well. Nice job." Now, whether he says that to everybody, I don't know, but it meant a lot to me.
Of course.
And at Destiny, we also got to meet Paige. and she sat on our step where our commentary box was, and we were doing commentary on one of the matches, and she was laughing out loud where you could hear her laughing, you know. And when we walked off after the show was over, she said, "That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in wrestling." So those are moments for me, you know, personally. And Billy Gunn called me an idiot as a commentary partner. That was fun too. And I got to call a tag team tournament with Animal. So I've had a lot of great opportunities. Jonathan Hood from ESPN 1000 took me to the the Starrcade podcast event as AEW came to town. So I got to sit and interview Tony Schiavone, and we got to talk to him, and you know, we talked with Animal again, Dave Lagana from NW, formerly of NWA. You know, Jonathan Hood was an instructor at our school, so he's taken me along out of pity, no doubt, on some things. And you know, I've had a lot of great experiences. So now I'm rambling, so I'm gonna let you go on to the next one.
No, I mean, it's amazing for, like you say, you can't got in business at 45, and then all these. Look at for the time span. All those unique things and opportunities that you got to do.
It's crazy.
You got to meet.
It's crazy.
It's a beautiful thing about the wrestling business. You know, you get to work with your childhood heroes and people you grew up watching. You're like, wow, pinch me. I'm the 10-year-old me is like, I'm so and so.
There is no more. I mean, wrestling is feast or famine. I have found it will give you the highest of highs, but when things get bad and the drama takes over that can happen sometimes in this business, it can really provide you the lowest of lows. I've had great moments, and I've had moments that have made me want to sit back and question why I do it. But you know, that's why it's so amazing, because what else in this life, what else in this world can give you that kind of emotional swing? And it's just, it's an incredible industry to be in, and I'm blessed to get these opportunities, and blessed to be sitting here with you on a Saturday morning. And you know, CCW October 3rd. You know, gee willikers, I'll say that instead of cursing all over the place. I can't wait for that. I mean, this is like my dream come true, to sit next to a guy, a very Bobby Heenan-esque character like the villain Joey Roth, and call those matches, those marquee matches. It's everything I ever wanted to do, and it's only a couple of months away. Pinch me.
For fans at home, it's October 3rd here in Michigan City, Indiana. If you want to know more information, go to our website at www.ChicagolandChampionshipWrestling.com. And speaking of the event, let's talk a little bit about the
I'd love to. By the way, go to that website and watch that hype video. That hype video, if you don't get excited to see a show after watching that professionally done hype video, then you don't understand this business and clearly aren't a fan. That hype video is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Our great production person that works with us, of course, my wife.
Oh!
So
see, always compliment the boss's wife.
So October 3rd, let's take a look at that card. We have a little shortcoming with who we got on the card, but almost every single match that we have booked gives everybody a main event quality match each and every time the athletes come out.
That's no question. Having been a promoter booker for a few months and having to put shows together and watching shows unfold that you've written, if you don't open hot and you have a match that either, a lot of say, well, we'll put the pre-show on, we'll have a match, we'll give these two guys some experience. No. The first thing that audience sees absolutely has to draw them in. It has to suck them in hard and get them out of their seats, get them amped, and get that adrenaline up. People say, well, you got to do this, and then you got to bring it down, and then you don't want to. No, you want them to have a 100% pure adrenaline thrill ride from the minute that opening bell happens to the minute that main event concludes. You want those people tired when they leave there. You want those people out of breath, and you want those people saying, when's the next show? Can I get tickets now? If you've done all of those things, then you're doing right, and you're writing professionally and you're working professionally. If you have matches that lull people to sleep, you're not going to be around very long. Exactly. And I'm happy to say, as Joey Roth and I went over this card the other night via Zoom, we know right now, without even having met some of the talent, I mean, there are some talent we haven't worked with yet. We're looking forward to it. But we know right now that there is not a slow-paced match on that card, number one. We know that there are, is it 6 or 7?
Actually, we're going to have 8.
8, sorry. Because I found out about the Ewok match against Zeke Kickham just recently. So you have 8 matches that could be that main event match on cards anywhere. And when you have that amount of pure momentum and adrenaline that you can stick any match at the beginning of the card and any match at the end of the card, well, that gives you a lot of flexibility, number one, but it also is going to give the fans an absolutely undeniably exciting experience. Plus, those people that are lucky enough to have Amazon Prime and catch the show there, they're going to say, what is this thing? Where has this been all my life? When's the next one? That's what you want. You want people to say, I was not able to leave my seat for 3 hours because there was not a match that was slow that I could go to the bathroom at. If you have people making their way to the bathroom at the end of the show because they've had to wait the whole time after drinking all the concessions,
something right.
Then you, my friend, have a magical product, and you, my friend, I think, have a magical product.
I appreciate that. Going from the opening match with Yo-Ya versus Miles Mercer to the main event with Vic Capri versus the Shogun Chris Logan, top to bottom, the entire mindset is, let's give the fans a show that they'll talk about for the next 20 years.
And you've got all the elements. Shogun Chris Logan is a fixture in this industry in the Midwest. I remember seeing him for the first time at Pro Wrestling Blitz WrestleFest 6 in Romeoville. I was doing a radio call for ICB on that day, and I remember thinking, oh, what a physically monstrous man. And then I watched him translate to the ring, and I'm like, this is somebody to watch. This guy's going to be on TV someday. Said the same thing about Marche Rocket, and a few years later, he was on Impact. I had Marche Rocket on my show this past Tuesday, and he is a striker. I now know that personally. You've got the right talent at the right time in the right place. Youth Gone Wild, the Gotch Brothers, Ewok, Luke, Zeke Kickham. You've got great talent, great storylines. People are already sending out videos and verbal jabs at their opponents. I mean, it's just going to get bigger and better. So the countdown to October 3rd is on. All you have to do is go on your local social media and you can watch it progress. Ewok's on there. Roth and I took a few minutes there. John's on there all the time. I mean, you're not gonna be able to get away from it. You will know when that day's coming.
That's right. And it's October 3rd, ladies and gentlemen, Michigan City, Indiana. Go to Chicagoland Championship Wrestling.com. Once again, this is John Bullard with my good friend Steve Ahrendt. Steve, thank you for being a guest on tonight's show.
Is it all over?
I
feel like I rambled for 30 minutes. My God, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
All right, we'll get you next time.
See you then, folks, at ringside.